Living Well with Chronic Health. Today, I want to talk about the 3 stages of living with chronic health. And all of us know that the most confusing thing is that these stages are not sequential. They can kind of bop all around the place, depending on the weather, depending on the day, depending on medication reactions, etc., right? So, the worst stage, I think we would all call crisis stage, and it's not that you feel panicky about your health. It's that you are pretty much completely debilitated and you are so sick. It's not that you think you're dying and it's not that you want to die. It's that you can't believe you're not dying. You're that sick. That's really hard to explain to people who've never been sick or for that long or who haven't lived with somebody who's chronically ill. But there are those stages that we go through. Hopefully, you only go through them once, but that stage can come and go, and it tends to last for weeks and even months and sometimes years. Although I think the people I've known who've had those long term crisis modes have little breaks here and there where they're able to get out and do a few things. Um, so, for those of you who don't have chronic health, let me get a little bit specific. At that stage of my disease, I was about 25 to 30 pounds underweight because I could not keep food down. Doctors didn't know what else to do. They were not saying I was dying, but they couldn't get me more functional without extremely specialized doctors. And some people, even with extremely specialized doctors, don't get much better at that point. And so it's just the stage of how can I not be dying? I'm 30 pounds underweight, malnourished, exhausted, can't get out of bed for days other than to go to the bathroom. Um, it's not the worst discouraging stage because you can get really discouraged, but most of the time you're too tired to have emotions. So, for those of us who have chronic health, the important things in that stage are do not be ashamed to ask for help. People who love you want to help. So be honest, give them quantitative information. You know what? It's been 5 days since I've been able to get out of bed. Would you be willing to come pick up my laundry and do my laundry? Would you be willing to send my bills out in the mail? Would you be willing to bring us a meal? People don't feel put upon who genuinely love you. They want to do those things. Those of you who care for someone with chronic illness or love someone with chronic illness, don't ask how you can help. Ask when you can come to do their laundry or to cook a meal or to clean or to drive their kids places or to get the bills stamped and put in the mail. Does anybody do that anymore? Maybe it's all over the internet these days. I don't know. But those are the kinds of functional tasks that are not getting done. A ride to the doctor. Those basic things don't get done. Um, Always a listening ear. That always helps. So the crisis stage where I can't believe I'm not dying. I know I'm not, but how can I be this sick and not be dying? Again, for those of you who have gone through that stage or are going through that stage now, be sure to give your doctors quantitative information. If you go and you say, I feel like I'm dying, they can't measure that and they don't know what to do with it. If you go and you say, I'm not keeping meals down, I'm dehydrated, I've had a migraine for 3 days, that kind of quantitative information they can measure and they know what to do with that. I wish that medicine were way more empathic than that, but unfortunately science has to be measurable, and that's a good thing. It helps doctors know what meds and what doses to prescribe. And yes, meds do not give us our life back. They do not take symptoms away completely, and even if they do, there are usually side effects, right? So that is one of the stages that we go through. Hopefully, for most of us, it doesn't last terribly long. There's also this kind of in between stage where you're able to do some things during the day. Some of us refer to that as spoon theory. I'll have to look up who actually originated that. But you show the number of spoons represents how many things you think you can do that day, and when they're gone, you're done, right? Can't always predict that, but you kind of sometimes have a sense in the mornings of what the day is going to look like, right? So those are the days you have to be mindful, right? Those are the days you try to get your top priorities done. Those are the days your brain fog is probably not so good. And so making lists, making sure you number your top priority, taking a break after each one. For me, and I think for most of us with chronic health, mornings are the absolute best time to get anything done, right? Anything that has to be physical or even cognitive thinking, that's the best time. So for me, in the mornings, I have some reading and meditation time. I usually try to get some exercise in if it's safe and if I'm capable. Try to walk a mile. Depending on the day, I might try to cook in the morning so that we have food prepared for later if when I'm too tired to cook later in the day. I don't work weekends. I don't work Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So for me, Fridays and Saturdays, I'm mega cooking so that I'm not cooking during the week very much. I cook my lunches for the entire week and one or two suppers that we can have as leftovers. I might freeze some of it for later. I'll usually cook a giant pot of rice, maybe pasta. I'm gluten-free, but my husband isn't, and my son is not gluten-free. I will make a giant batch of soup, like an 8-quart batch of soup on the weekends. I will make a double batch of muffins, gluten-free muffins for the week for lunches. What else? So every weekend I try to do that so that the week is less stressful, way less stressful, right? Okay. And so then there's occasionally those days where you have a lot of energy, right? You're able to do more than you normally are. And I know the key is to not overdo it, right? Not overdo it, because you pay for it if you do. And it's so tempting. It's so tempting because you just want to go have fun. You never get to have that energy to go have fun. But it still comes back to balance. So measuring, right? Measuring with the spoons, making sure you're asking for help when you need it. I know, I hate asking for help, but it's important. If you're gonna survive, if you're gonna thrive, if you're not gonna get depressed, if you're not gonna have the disease and life swallow you up, you have to ask for help. And people get joy in giving. So my wonderful great aunt used to say, "Don't rob me of my joy." And it was so healing for me to hear that because I realized that she had joy in helping and giving. She was the one who, when I was at my sickest, said, "When can I come pick up your laundry and do it for you?" So I hope those tips are helpful. See you later on Living Well with Chronic Health. Thanks, everyone.